head into describing the maps for this final game. It's final decisive game in a best of 7 between Chris and Vinchester. Once again, players in the same colour. Vinchester in the purple colour towards the bottom left of the map, and Chris in the green colour towards the top right. Let's have a look at the maps first and foremost. For Vinchester on this more green style Arabia map, it's looking pretty great for him actually. 2 very hefty looking wood lines. This one is so big he can have towers put on the far side of it and still chop wood from the near side. So plenty of options for gathering wood there in safe spots, and importantly his main goal is towards the rear of the map, and in a position where he's going to be able to shelter it really easily, especially if he does some walling off towards the north. Also a stone back here and a second gold pile incredibly close to his starting town centre, and in a position where he could also put a really nice TC between 2 goals and wood later on. So I think a really nice map for Vinchester. Is a bit open towards the front. Potentially Chris can exploit this hill to push towards the front of his base, but as we said, Vinchester does have some room to fall back to other resources. Meanwhile,
I'm back, sir.
Great. For Chris in the top right, we do see things looking more open and all of his resources more exposed, besides that one back wood line that he has. Everything else is more or less towards the middle of the map. Even the berry is quite a long way away from the TC, again very forward. The similar situation for the gold, and then second and third gold mines way out towards the south in open positions, and at the bottom of a big hill that also has his secondary stone pile there. The only other thing towards the back for him, sort of, is this main stone over to the right, along with the a second wood line that is really, really far away, so he won't want to get pushed towards that too early on. Looking at both players, it seems like, yeah, that was just Chris getting his first bore in, but I don't see either player sending their scout forward really early to try and do any laming in this final game, so they're going to fight it up fair unless they head off pretty soon.
Vinch is pushing deer, so
yeah, he's not going to be thinking about that. Those deer are going to be a little bit misbehaving there.
Yeah, it looks like.
This is what Milmana would refer to as a Bambi. One that just does not do what it's told.
That deer's just going to end up going all the way back.
Yeah, I think he's going to get it now. But obviously, whilst Vinchester's doing this, he's not scouting out Chris's map, which means that he's a little bit less informed from a strategy perspective. But
they're both on the same sort of thing. Chris just pushed deer as well. He's only pushed the one though, and now he's gone.
Yeah, Chris with the 3 villages on wood, so he's pretty much going scouts, so you would have to assume at this point. Vinchester with 4. I didn't see how early he sent a 4th to wood. He could potentially be a 4 on wood scouts player, or he could just be doing. He could have started off with 3 and moved 1 later. But alternatively, if he did start off with 4 straight away, he could be thinking of some kind of drush or forward-oriented play as well. So it'd be interesting to see if he mixes it up, and indeed we have got a barracks coming down for him, so that will be the case for Vinchester. Not going to see a mirrored approach from each player then. Second ball coming in for Vinchester, and he's getting that under his town centre, having pushed in a whole bunch of deer, so he's going to be able to have a lot of food in the bank to make this drush with, and he's just now pushing out across the map to go and find Chris. We'll take a little bit of a circuitous route around the top left before he finds it. Meanwhile, Chris is scouting information.
I think he's going to get some of Chris's sheep as well.
Yeah, I did notice that Chris hadn't found them earlier, and he's actually just picked them up, you're right. Meanwhile, Chris...
And he's taken them as well. He hasn't sent them back, which is good.
Yeah, I was going to say, wouldn't you? Come on.
Yeah, that's good.
Don't
you think this is a bit of a blind rush from Finch, though?
Yeah,
I think his barracks is sort of a nice defensive type barracks. I thought maybe he was going to drop in and just wait and make late like he did last time, but very, very blind. He had no idea what Chris's map was like at all, and he's just gone for it.
Yeah, I mean, it could also be because the fact that he knows he's got a nice map, so a drush could make more sense, but also he's going to get lucky because I think he's got to go over there and find out that Chris has a good map to drush against because he's got berries and gold both exposed. Sorry, Chris has a good map for Winchester to drush against. It's not the case that Chris will have palisaded and funneled everything towards the TC, etc. by this point. So Chris just about now to reach the feudal age on 21 population, so a 21 population scout rush almost certainly going to happen for him, especially as he split those lumber camps, and we see he's taking no such risks as he did in the first game when he put his military buildings, sorry, the second game.
The drush is working out going to work out really well for Vinch.
Yeah.
If you look, Chris is going to be pushed off those berries. Dropping a stable down now, Chris.
Yeah, I was just saying, in the second game, Chris built his military buildings, like his barracks and everything, miles from his TC, and it got absolutely caught out by Winchester's drush. But this time, he's putting the military buildings practically in the TC. Got to move over to the wood line and try and interrupt that as well. But a spear will at least force the scout to keep its distance.
Chris not interested at all in any sort of palisade into the block, is he? He's just leaving himself completely open and thinking, if you come in, I'll fight with Vils. Which is good for Vinch. Winchester at home now is palisading himself in. He knows Chris is going to be coming scouts.
Yeah. I mean, as I was saying, I think for Winchester, the blind drush is kind of countered by the fact that he just looks at his map and thinking, I've got to abuse this. Because it's just that good. He's doing that warlock on the left a little bit close, but that's fine for now. Those militia moving in on the wood line, getting kind of trapped in, and I think this could be kind of the end of their usefulness, but a little poke on one of Chris's scouts, and Chris has actually lost 2 scouts for that, which is going to really neuter his ability to do anything with the scouts.
That's excellent payback, really, for Winchester for that drush, and he was wise enough to keep his scout out of the way of any of that fighting, so he can still scout as well.
Yep. Really excellent payoff for him, and so Winchester just now reaching the feudal age. On 27 Vils, he's going to be dropping 1 archery range and walling on the left-hand side with the blacksmith.
And up he goes.
Yeah, much more of a Drush FC style of play from him.
And Chris is going to be a long way from being able to click up, and he's not going to be able to do anything with any scouts, even if he does make. No, Winchester's got a nice map. This is looking really good for Winchester already.
Yeah, I mean, if Winchester is up to the castle age and making crossbowmen with Chris still stranded in the feudal age, against the map that Chris has with that gold position, etc., it's going to be absolutely devastating.
Finch doesn't even need to make any archers or crossbows. He's just going to get straight there and make cav archers, isn't he?
Well, he needs a stable first to do that, and he's dropping a 3rd range. Well, I'm sorry, no, he need a stable to get bloodlines, sorry, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I think he's just going to hit castle and go direct.
You think he's going to go straight into CA without
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Chris is going to be
he's
kind
really,
of late that he won't
really open. He's going to be a long way behind.
Yeah.
I think
Chris is going to be so late in getting a decent number of archers or anything that CA can work really well, because he'll be able to raid from all directions and just attack and retreat, etc.
He needs to pay it. Yeah, I thought he was going to let Chris get in there with scouts.
Because the problem with going the straight CA sometimes is the other player's already got a decent number of archers, or even gets crossbow, and then without bloodlines they kind of fail to start off with. So that's why I was thinking in terms of bloodlines. But Chris is going to be so far behind with that he could afford to just go straight CA.
Chris is risking forward villas as well. He sent 3 villagers forward, and those villagers are probably going to retreat really fast anytime soon when Winchester hits castle age. They're way too late.
Yeah, with only a few spears and scouts poking on that wall, he's not going to get through, and I just wonder what Chris has got in his mind here, because it's 2 CA coming out from each range.
He's going to want a tower somewhere, isn't he? He's going to. I don't know where he'll drop that. Right on top, look, by Finch's Wood, which he's just got 5 villagers on.
Yeah, and the thing is, Winchester can even move those villagers just to the left, and the tower won't even hit them. That wood line is pretty pretty hefty, as I was saying at the start. And now those CA are out for Winchester. Got to be able to micro against this army really effectively, and reinforcing from 3 ranges right on top of those ranges as well. So all of these units will go down for Chris, but he's actually taken a bunch of hits from those spearmen. Totally unnecessary losses against all those spearmen. Winchester's not paying attention.
The scouts, I thought. I mean, he's ended up with 2 cav archers left out of 5, and all he's done is taken 2 weakened scouts and a couple of spears.
Yeah, which he could just literally run away from. He didn't even have to hit, like, he didn't even have to kill them, because it's not as if they could do anything to him.
Chris on his way to castle now. The villagers are running back. Finch may catch them.
There's a wolf chasing after one of those villagers.
Yeah, the wolf's chasing one, and he's got a cav archers chasing the other. He may end up picking all of them. Chris chucking a defensive tower down on his gold. On his way to Castle Age himself. Two, yeah, Finch managed to get 2 of them.
Yeah, but Chris now on his way to the Castle Age. By the time he gets there, the villager numbers will be roughly even, but that's only if he manages to avoid losing any more whilst the upgrade's coming in, which right now he's not doing. He did at least go on stone somewhere towards the back in order to be able to try and get another tower up on his farmland, but that's going to be denied, and those CA are going to continue.
Another 2 villagers.
Picking off vills and making their way around. If those CA make it all the way around to the Chris is pulling
the stone miners are running
off the stone just in time, but even so, this like, you can't underestimate just the damage this is doing economically to Chris. The fact that he's gone so heavily onto stone, and then he's had all these villagers idle whilst on the way up to Castle Age. He's going to be so far behind. Whilst
Finch hasn't gone all in on army either, has he? Because he's dropped second TC
and 3 ranges producing the Hun's cheap cavalry archers. He's going to be just really accelerating through this game, whilst Chris is just in a mess, but at home. Keep getting distracted by the attack notification from that 1 tower Chris has done. Looks like Winchester won't really be able to pick any more villages at this point, but he's still inflicting a ton of idle.
And he's also going to stop Chris being able to move and get out to anywhere around that front right-hand side. So he's pinning Chris towards the top end of his map already.
And Chris actually going for crossbowmen at this point, but he's only got like 2 archers or so, and he also made a cavalry archer in the other range, so a little bit incoherent like play.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. I thought maybe with the stable down he would have gone for the bloodlines and tried to mass cav archers inside those ranges and stay safe for now.
The issue with that is that his farmland is so compromised that getting Bodkin Arrow anytime soon, and then like bloodlines as well, and then continuing to produce villagers so as not to fall behind would have been really tough, I think.
Well, villager count, Winchester is now 10 ahead, and to hit the Vinch, he's normally quite good on his macro side of booming, and so I'll be surprised if Chris catches that back up.
Winchester even doing one of my favourite troll moves and just shooting farms.
He's gone 3rd TC now as well, Vinch.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any chance soon of Winchester throwing this advantage away.
Yeah.
I think he's going to keep Chris pinned in now.
And he's balancing everything really nice as well with his economy. He's not floating any resources. He's keeping his boom going, but managing to produce army and raid.
You can see he's playing very confidently. I mean, he went forward with the cav archers then, and in the middle of the fight, he stopped, picked off the Vil, then stopped, then trotted back to start the fight again.
Just now getting wheelbarrow as well. And his villager lead is extending into the double digits now.
He's dropped his stable for his bloodlines as well, so at least he hasn't forgotten that. No, he's playing really well. Oh, running into the middle of 2 towers, didn't manage to get a single villager. And a lot of them CAs, if you click the CAs from Vinch, a lot of them are very, very weak now, so he needs to be a little bit careful, with Chris coming with the skirms as well.
Even so, though, it's not terrible, because, like, yeah, he's suffered some damage, but he's pushed Chris off gold for a little while longer as well, which means that unless he goes full skirmishers, he's still not going to be able to continue producing units as well as he will be able to. And those like Hun CA, like if you manage to inflict eco damage, then expending a few CA here and there, they are a tiny bit expendable in that regard. Obviously you don't want to lose them for nothing, but inflicting eco damage, it's always worthwhile. And really any damage that he manages to do now in terms of economy is just further nail in the coffin, because he knows that he's going to be so far ahead of Chris.
The university going down as well for ballistics for Winchester, so...
Yeah, the same thing happening for Chris as well. I think he's probably looking at it and realising or thinking that he needs those that ballistics just to try and deal with the CA raids that are going to be coming in from multiple directions now.
I think Vinch is going to try and run around the top right, come down to the back end of Chris's wood line, and the back end of that gold. He can inflict some decent damage there as well. Chris trying to go forward with skirms and cav archers, but Vinch is still pretty safe, doing some skirms himself at home.
Yeah, and they're CA moving in.
Yeah, they're moving in.
1, 2 villagers on the wood line. Inflicting more. I'd love to see this wolf kill like the 1 HP cavalry archer or the 2 HP cavalry archer, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Ballistics and gold mining coming in for Winchester. Meanwhile, Chris is going to move in on Winchester for the first time since the kind of feudal age, really. Can easily bust through that palisade, but
he's through in a good spot, in a decent spot as well. Although Vinch has got 2 TCs there to protect, he's still going to delay him, isn't it? It's going to create some idle time. Vinch coming back with all his CAs now and skirms. They might meet on the top of this hill by the Chris's tower.
A difference in upgrades as well with Winchester being on +2 armour at this point. I didn't see if Chris managed to click ballistics yet. I don't know if you did, but Winchester definitely has it at this point. +2 armour just now coming in for Chris, but it's going to be too late to actually be effective in this fight, and he's going to lose the fight.
He needs to run from that. He's going to lose everything in that fight.
The thing is, maybe he's seen Winchester has ballistics though, and like if you try and run away from that, you take a ton of extra hits on the way back as well. But he was fighting that without bloodlines also, only now just doing bloodlines, Chris.
Winchester trying to be really aggressive. He's dropping 2 siege workshops on the right hand side on the hill, but
Chris seems to know.
He's just sat there waiting.
That's the knowledge of the expert, the old master Chris. He just knows.
Well, look at the resource spots around it. There's gold, there's stone, there's gold. There's a nice hill advantage.
Yeah, holding on to that hill is really important for Chris if he's going to make his way back into this game. If Winchester manages to take a perch on that hill and just stay there, then Chris is just going to struggle for resources so much throughout the game after that.
Winchester's dropping another 3 archery ranges right in the front of his base as well. He's just going to outmass, taking the tower down that Chris put on top and coming in on the wood line again at the back of Chris's base. 2 villagers gone. Just got the 2. Messy fight on the right hand side for Vince though. He's allowed Chris to keep the hill advantage. Picked off some 3 cav archers and 3 or 4 skirms.
Yeah, that initially wasn't going so well for Chris because he was trying to use a runner to micro against Winchester, but then, to use several runners I think, but then Winchester had ballistics anyway, so it wasn't working too well. But in the end, a decent fight for Chris, as you say. Just keeping an eye on that other army of Winchester's in the north.
Yeah, the military count. Winchester is double what Chris has got. And the great thing for Winchester as well, he's got that free cav archer army, the initial one, that can just roam around anywhere around Chris's base while he's still fighting his army.
One night for Winchester to help deal with the fact that Chris is now trying to counter him with tons of skirms. +1 armor on the knight as well, which is going to mean the skirms are really ineffectual.
Yeah, there's a couple of knights, the ones chasing down the skirms. Now, this is looking really, really, really good for Winchester. Very, very good. He's not throwing this away, I don't think.
And even now he moves in on the north woodline as well with those CA picking up.
We hadn't spotted it or mentioned it for a while. Look at the villager count.
Yeah, it's been gradually growing and growing because Winchester, obviously, with those 3 TCs.
Almost 40 villagers more for Winchester.
Yeah.
And he's not far away from being able to click up to Imperial Age.
Yeah, pretty much like just a masterclass on how to do the kind of Drush FC CA and then transition into 3TC from Winchester here.
The ram train coming into the right of Chris's base and another siege workshop being dropped right on that stone and gold with army there to protect it as well. This is game ending for Chris.
Yeah, Chris doesn't have anything to do with this. Doesn't have like a single knight on the field, no siege workshop to try and do mangonel to deal with the rams. Is sitting 40 villages behind, has a quarter of the army, and his opponent is on the way to the Imperial Age. What Chris can do now probably is nothing, but his response is actually a market to try and.
I know what Chris can do now. He can press the enter key, he can type a G and another G.
I think he's going to stick it out at least until that Imperial Age hits for Winchester, because his play is actually a castle just to try to defend this whole area. He's not going to go down with a fight, but
he hasn't even got. I mean, Winchester with the military Chris has got, Winchester there with 4 rams already, he can just go straight into that castle with everything he's got sitting at the bottom of it, take that down as well.
Absolutely, yeah. But Chris is just going to give it a try. It's game 7 of a series.
I don't blame Chris, try and obviously try everything you've got, but they're experienced enough at this level to know this is sort of 100% GG. Well, 99.99. The only thing missing is the enter key, G and a G.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see the game, but I did hear Yo came back against Winchester from 50 villages behind in that set. So maybe he's just got that in the back of his mind.
The difference was Winchester wasn't on top of Yo's base at all. It was more Yo chasing Winchester around his own base. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas in this game, Chris has got different gameplay.
A disadvantage in every aspect that you can think about here. And the Imperial Age prompting the GG out of his opponents. So
well played.
Congratulations.
That was perfect Drush fast castle play. He had a nice little map. Chris's map was no worse than Winchester's the game before, and he really, really deserved the win. Well played.
Yep, congratulations to him. Through to the semi-final, where he's going to face. Remind me, Taff, if you got a better mental picture of the brackets than me. Do you know like which bracket he faces?
He goes up, doesn't he? The Viper? Am I wrong?
He goes up to the Viper side of things.
All.
Maybe you can check that whilst I just look at the achievements. But anyway,
he does. He goes up to the